Alright guys, welcome back. Matchif here to talk about some awesome new games you should definitely be looking forward in 2019 and 2020. With the biggest gaming event E3 2019 finished, there is a ton of new reveals that can now be added into this list to share to you all, from all the genre possible, from open world RPG to shooter and horror games. This is a really great lineup, so let's start right away with the first one. First up, we have Raw. This game literally came out of nowhere, and I'm gonna be making a full video on this one game very soon. Raw is a new sandbox open world MMORPG with a unique approach to social structure and high attention to gameplay details. Extremely inspired by GTA Online, the Armor Life mod, and Rust. Raw begins on an island where there is nothing but vegetation. Players need to choose a governor. The governor must found the city and begin its development. Players do not have housing, transport, and other property. There are no shops, no roads, no gas stations, no police stations, no hospitals, and etc. The game officially starts in the raw form, with nothing at all. All players now act as a citizen of the island state. You'll need to settle in first, then get everything started. You'll be able to own lands, use air, water, and land transport, build houses, work for the state, or find a private or secretive job, as well as organize your own business in almost any field of activity. You can be on the side of the law or go beyond it, like probably most players will. If you want to, you can just fool around alone or with your friends, in nature or in the city. Raw has a full government system, real estate where you can buy your house or commercial stuff almost anywhere on the map, a lot of vehicles that, just like in real life, you'll need to take care of. You can also start your own business of anything you'd like to, from gas stations to clothing store. And it's a massive open world with 100 to 200 players. As we speak, the game is on Kickstarter and it's going really well. I can't wait to see more of it. Next up, Vampires: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2. In Bloodlines 2, starred in an act of vampire terrorism, your existence ignites the war for Seattle's blood trade. Enter uneasy alliances with the creatures who control the city and uncover the sprawling conspiracy which plunges Seattle into a bloody civil war between powerful vampire factions. You and your unique disciplines are weapons in the forward-driving, fast-moving, melee-focused combat system. Your power will grow as you advance, but remember to uphold the masquerade and guard your humanity, or face the massive consequences that might endure by doing the opposite. You will have the choice to do both. Everything is about choices in Bloodlines 2. Either of the choices will have good or bad things happening. Seattle has always been run by vampires. Hunt your prey across Seattle locations faithfully reimagined in the world of darkness. Meet the Old Blood founders present since the city's birth and the new blood steering the tech money redefining the city. Everyone has hidden agendas, so choose your allies wisely. You'll be able to choose a side among competing factions, each with their own unique traits and stories, in the war for Seattle's blood trade. The world will judge you by the company you keep, but remember, no one's hands stay clean forever. Next up, Destroy All Humans Remake. THQ Nordic and Black Forest Games revealed Destroy All Humans, a remake of the 2005 cult classic of the same name, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC next year. While everything is being built from the ground up on new tech, the remake will be one-for-one the original 2005 game. Players will take control of an alien called Crypto, as he attempts to take over Earth in order to harvest human DNA and clone more of his alien race. While the open world chaos and general society destroying was part of Destroy All Humans' fun, it also had a ridiculous sense of humor. You'll be able to destroy other humans you can using an assortment of exotic alien weaponry and psychic abilities, or by simply reducing cities to smoldering piles of rubble and ash with Crypto's flying saucer. I played the game at E3 this year and it is exactly like the original, and that's what makes the game so good. Destroy All Humans will be released sometimes in early 2020 for the 5th anniversary of the original release. Next up, we have Ghostwire Tokyo, which is looking like a really unique take on the horror and action genre. From the Evil Within 2 creators, comes this action-adventure game in which you'll fight paranormal enemies and rid the beautiful Tokyo City of supernatural evil. People are vanishing and you have to find out why. Filled with paranormal entities, supernatural events, conspiracies, and the occult, it already sounds very intriguing. The game's world will also be really open according to the developers. The cinematic trailer certainly set the tone and feel of the game, which is creepy and beautiful at the same time, but it didn't give us a release date yet. In my opinion, Ghostwire is in the works for the next generation of consoles, with Xbox Scarlet set to be revealed next year at E3. Next up is Remnant from the Ashes. Remnant from the Ashes is a third-person survival action shooter set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by monstrous creatures. As one of the last remnants of humanity, you'll set out alone or alongside up to 2 players to face down hordes of deadly and unique enemies. Each playtest, with also over 20 epic bosses, you'll try to carve a foothold, rebuild, and then retake what was lost. Players will also be able to create and modify new weapons to better their chances at the challenges ahead. To complement the weapon system, players will also have a gear progression system as well. The worlds will be randomized and be packed with unique challenges that, once completed, will reward players with tools and gear to assist them in advancing to the next world. You'll be exploring dynamically generated worlds that change each time you play through them, creating new maps, enemy encounters, quest opportunities, and in-world events. Each of the game's 4 unique worlds is filled with different monsters and environments that will provide fresh challenges with each playthrough. Next up, we have Daymare 1998. This game is heavily inspired by the classic games of the 90s like Resident Evil. So any Resident Evil fans out there, make sure to take a look at this project. Daymare is a third-person survival horror with hardcore survival mechanics and hard-to-kill enemies. It requires a strategical approach to combat and puzzles and offers a multi-character point of view on the story, revealing a deep and obscure lore. So you'll be playing as 3 different characters throughout the single-player story. The scene is set with a secret research facility, a deadly chemical weapon, and a special security team to investigate this incident, with the potential to become much more than just a security breach. Follow the steps of an elite soldier, an helicopter pilot, and a forest ranger as they play out their roles in an event that transforms one peaceful small town into a deadly zone and its citizens into bloodthirsty monsters. Take the creatures down first before looking for any clues and evidence to bring more sense to this mess. Next up, we have Darkborn. Darkborn is a story-focused action game where you play a literal monster in a classic revenge story. The game is a first-person mixture of stealth and action as you inhabit one of the titular creatures in a quest to vengeance on the Viking-like humans who inhabit the world. It is positioned to tell a unique story revolving around opposing powers in the world, while you and your innocent family are caught in the middle of this war. In this world, humans are murderous, cruel enemies bent on your extinction. You yourself are an innocent monster caught up in a much larger conflict between powers, the specifics of which become clearer in the course of the game. It's a classic revenge story, but also a mystery. What happened to the world and your people? Can they be saved? The developers said, "We hope people experience a new perspective. We want them to want to help these lone creatures succeed against seemingly impossible odds on their journey of knowledge and vengeance." Next up, we have Chernobylite. With the sudden rise and, we can say, popularity of the Chernobyl events, this game is a perfect fit for the mystery and horror that happened. Of course, Chernobylite is completely fictional, but is looking amazing. This science fiction survival horror experience, mixing the free exploration of its disturbing world with challenging combat, unique crafting, and non-linear storytelling. Play as a physicist, one of the Chernobyl power plant's ex-employees, and investigate the mysterious disappearance of your beloved. Try to survive and reveal the contamination zone's twisted secrets. Remember, the military presence is not your only concern. You'll be able to freely explore the exclusion zone of Chernobyl, collaborate or compete with other online stalkers, and also fight against the savage creatures pouring from an alternate reality. Craft your gear and weapons to protect yourself from the hostile military personnel and supernatural threats lurking in the zone. Next up, we have Last Oasis. People got to know a lot more about this game at E3 2019 with its new trailer, and it brings some unique elements. Last Oasis is a nomadic survival MMO. The Earth has stopped rotating, and the last human survivors need to outrun the scorching sun in a massive open world. You will traverse the world on wooden wind-powered walking machines called walkers. Walkers can be adapted for travel, transportation, harvesting, combat, or used as mobile bases. A multitude of structures, attachments, and upgrades allow players to personalize walkers to their needs. So with these walkers as your mobile home and defense, you will need to always be on the move, because the sun burns the land in the west, turning it to dust. In order to stay ahead of the obliterating sun, nomads must explore new territories that slowly emerge on the eastern horizon, from the side of the earth that has long been frozen in impenetrable ice. The world consists of many interconnected different places, forming a large open world. Potentially 1,000 of different places exist at the same time. The number automatically adjusts to accommodate the size of the player base. Each oasis, as they call them, is over 100 km square. Next up, we have 83. This one could be really good. From the makers of Rising Storm 2 Vietnam comes a Cold War, combined arms, first-person military shooter for high player counts. It pits two large platoons of players against each other in massive maps, fighting over a number of objectives that have a tangible impact on the battle as a whole, when held by the victorious faction. Players will have access to a selection of real-world infantry weapons and equipment, as well as a selection of powerful land and air vehicles which can decisively turn the tide of a battle. 83's weapons are authentic to their real-world counterparts. All weapons works as players would expect in the real world, with systems such as ballistic modeling, penetration, real-world accurate recoil, and advanced weapon handling, putting the most iconic weapons of the Cold War in your hands. Next up, we have Midnight Ghost Hunt. Midnight Ghost Hunt is a multiplayer hide-and-seek game. You can play as either ghosts, which have to hide, or ghost hunters, which have to hunt. Ghosts can possess and hide inside any kind of furniture and hurl themselves at invading hunters. The hunters though must find and destroy all of the ghosts before the clock strikes midnight. If that doesn't happen, at midnight all the dead ghosts return as vengeful spirits. That's where the table turns and the game becomes a little bit more unique. Now the hunters becomes the hunted. The ghosts, now vengeful spirits, will hunt them. The hunters will have to try and survive the ghost onslaught until they can escape. However, midnight can be prevented if every ghost is destroyed in the first 4 minutes of the match, so be fast with it. Finally, we have Project Awakening. This one game isn't much known to the public and is pretty much a little secret except for its one and only trailer and the little information we have on it. Project Awakening is set to be a massive open world game. It will have a co-op multiplayer components and is set to be high fantasy, heavily inspired by Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. The developers are trying to have up to 12 players co-op, and it's most likely to be released on the next generation console. Alright guys, thank you all for watching this upcoming games video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.